This week on the Analog Circle podcast, a Resident Evil showcase is taking place tomorrow on January 15th, and we have a few details. We get word on what the next title is that Ninja Theory is working on, and it may slightly surprise you. We get confirmed rumors about Grand Theft Auto 6. All of this time, we've been hearing so many things about what this game is going to have. And because of a court case, we have got some confirmations. And Xbox is having their developer direct later on this month. But something is possibly happening with Fable that some may find very, very interesting. But all of these stories can be found here and more in episode 268 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and welcome to the show. Come on in and sit down and relax, because we're going to have a great conversation today. And if you want to call in and be a part of listener feedback, feel free to call in at 667-284-9057. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get into what we always come here for, and that is the gaming news that went down. So now this is breaking news that just came in just a couple of minutes ago. So pardon me as I read this off, but it looks like you guys remember earlier last year, well, kind of in the latter part of 2025, they talked about PSSR 2.0 being a thing. And it seems like that is on the horizon very, very soon, because according to who is this, and this story is from WCCF Tech. So it looks like the PlayStation 5 Pro's PSSR 2.0 will be coming out between. Now, this is alleged, so this isn't coming from PlayStation themselves, but this is from an insider. It's being claimed that it's going to be released between January and March of this year. That is very, very, very soon. Now, the thing the things I should say about this PSSR 2.0 that make it very interesting is it's going to have features similar to FSR 4. It's going to be implemented on PS5 Pro. It's going to have improved image quality and performance. It's going to have increased frame rates for games that previously sat at around 70 to 80 frames per second. It's going to come with higher resolution for classic. Now, this is interesting. It's going to come with higher resolution for classic low resolution games, which means this thing could actually bump up some of your older games to make them look a whole lot better. Now, how much better? That's to be determined. Now, it's also being said that it's going to be a new debugging tool that will also be available for developers. So the thing is, will this new PSSR 2.0 have a situation where it will actually have games running closer to 4K resolution at 120 frames per second? That would be amazing if that does happen, which makes me believe that it is a good possibility that next generation may be a little further away than maybe some of us have been thinking. We thought, well, at least myself, I'll speak for me, I thought around 2027 we would see these new consoles, but we also got word, and I don't think it was true, got to shout out my brother AB, that it was a report that said that the RAM was getting a lot higher, and because of the RAM prices, it may have put a bit of a halt on next generation coming sometime in 2027, but that does not seem to be the case. If anything, what seems to be the case with this RAM situation, and you guys are more than welcome to call in and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems as though this is something that's going to more so affect the PC gamer crowd. Good grief, them mother lovers love y'all. Seems like the RAM is going to be extremely expensive, at least for the time being. I know the PC gamers have gone through this with their graphics cards from NVIDIA and AMD. I'm also hear about it from NVIDIA, where those cards were very, very expensive at one point in time. I mean, jokers was ripping y'all off, just to put it mildly. But we'll see what happens with this PSSR 2.0 situation. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. Will I be getting a PlayStation 5 Pro because of this? Absolutely not. I shall not be. I'm going to stick it out with the PlayStation 5 that I have right now, and that's just going to be what it's going to be.
Move this man.
Hey, listen, man. Listen, brothers and sisters. I want to stick to what I know right now. And the PlayStation 5 has been doing me quite well, I must say. But with that being said, let's go ahead, guys, and let's get into the next story. Now, this is something that also just dropped a couple of minutes ago. Oh, yeah, that's right. Now, this isn't a big story, but this is something for people like myself that are fans of God of War. It looks like the God of War show has found its Kratos and Ryan Hurst. So it looks like the guy. Now wait a minute. Now, didn't Ryan Hurst, now I might have to look this up just to be on the safe side, but I think he actually did the voice of, man, who was that? Golly, it was a character inside of God of War Ragnarok. Let's see if it's true. Let's see. Hold on. Let's look this up real quick, just to be on the safe side so I'm not giving y'all false information. Did Ryan Hurst play a character voice actor in God of War Ragnarok?
Yes, Ryan Hurst provided the voice for Thor in God of War Ragnarok 2022.
Okay.
Beyond just the voice acting, he also provided the motion capture and facial capture performance for the character.
Dang.
His portrayal of the God of Thunder earned him a BAFTA Award nomination for performer in a supporting role.
Golly, well, shout out to that brother. He out here getting rings. Darn! All right. This guy got a BAFTA award and some more stuff. Motion capture, facial capture. Yeah, why not get that guy to play the role? So, yeah, for you guys that were interested or are interested in this new God of War show that we'll be releasing, I believe it's going to be on Amazon. Yeah, Amazon MGM Studios. Keep an eye out for it because he will be the Kratos main character in that story, which is good because he's already very familiar with the character being Thor. Any of you guys that played God of War Ragnarok know what kind of relationship him and Kratos had in the game. That is still one of the best games made this generation. I don't understand how people could hate on God of War Ragnarok. It did everything way better, much better than God of War 2018. So I always sit here and wonder, how could you say they did not come with their A game when it came to Sony Santa Monica with that title? But I digress. Let's go ahead though, guys, and let's get into the next story. And let me see, do I have anything else here in quick news? Looks like Ubisoft could be making a announcement coming up soon for Assassin's Creed, what's that, Black Flag, and let me see, a remake. Oh yeah, the Prince of Persia remake. Yeah, this actually came from, now this was a story that was from Insider Gaming. I'm not going to read the whole article, but I believe this kind of stemmed from those names actually getting, let me see, Insider Gaming, the Black Flag remake under the code name Obsidian has been in a development hand. Anyway, yeah, it had something to do with the trademark of the games being renewed or something to do with one of the, man, I don't want to sit up here and tell y'all completely wrong information, but it had to do with something to do with them actually renewing something that had to do with those games. So it's been a report that maybe we'll get some information about those two games coming up very, very soon, maybe possibly by the end of the month. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I know that the Prince of Persia remake has been on ice for quite some time. So it would be due for us to get an update on that. So maybe that happens sometime later on this year, but only time will tell. Well, with that being said, let's move on into a little bit of the meat and potatoes of the show. And let's move into a story that I got from GameSpot. So, like I mentioned before, a Resident Evil showcase is coming this Thursday on January 15th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which that is tomorrow. Now, the showcase will include, quote, brand new gameplay and news, end of quote, for Resident Evil Requiem. And on a side note, this is something on a side note, the game releases on February 27th for anybody that is interested. And one fun fact, this year in 2026 marks Resident Evil's 30th year anniversary. Golly, this joke is getting old. 30 years. 30 years. Shout out to Capcom. I guess I was, around 17 years old when this joint came out originally. That is absolutely amazing that it has made it to its 30-year mark. So with that being said, though, so who knows if there are going to be any, if there's going to be any extra announcements, to go along with that milestone achievement, because that is huge. Maybe we get something else inside of this showcase to celebrate this 30 years. That is a heck of a milestone. A lot of games don't make it to 30 years old. Once you make it to about 20, 25, that's a big accomplishment. But to make it to 30, man, you're in goated status when it comes to that situation. So who knows? Maybe they possibly could announce something to go along with this huge achievement, but only time will tell. But also maybe a Requiem demo. Now that would be dope. What if a demo actually gets announced at this show? I think that's a possibility. I think that maybe, matter of fact, speaking of that and demos in Capcom, didn't they release a demo of Pragmata? They did. They released a demo of Pragmata during the Game Awards on PC. Man, how you gonna put a game like that on doggone PC? Come on, Capcom! Come on! How you gonna leave the console brothers and sisters out in the cold like this and put a game like that is definitely anticipated by me on PC first? So, man, listen, maybe, just maybe, as a little bit of, a token of, hey, we appreciate you console mother lovers, maybe they'll give us the demo of Resident Evil Requiem tomorrow. Only time will tell, but hopefully that will be something we will be able to play over the weekend. And just talking about Pragmata just very, very quickly, I believe they said, the Pragmata account did say that a console demo, quote, will be arriving shortly. Now, the thing is, they didn't give a timeline. They just said it's going to be coming eventually. Now, for you guys that don't know, similar to Resident Evil Requiem, this game also has a release date, and it's going to be releasing on April 2nd. Capcom is definitely cooking this year. They got quite a few things coming out of the woodwork, and I'm pretty excited about it. But let's go ahead and let's get into the next story that has to do with Xbox. Oh, Xbox. Oh, man. Haven't recorded in a while, but I will say I saw those Xbox numbers. I saw the numbers. Those jokers said that they were down 70% on sales.
But wait, it gets worse.
70%. I said, stop it. Just stop this. 70%. Oh my gosh. That is horrid. to say the least. But you know what? Let's talk about some positive Xbox news, though. God, dog, I saw that number. I darn it passed out in my seat. 70%, man, you ain't moving. You moved 1 unit a month. That's crazy. But let's go ahead, though, and let's get into this positive news, though, about Xbox. So the thing is that, they're actually going to have, once again, definitely starting the year off with a bang. I got to give them that, because that last developer direct they had, that joint was fire last year. So once again, right on cue, they're going to be having their developer direct for 2026, and it's going to be taking place on January 22nd, and it's going to feature one of my most anticipated games in Fable. Fable is gonna be there, as well as Forza Horizon 6. And, oh man, we got some news on Forza Horizon 6 that I want to talk about in just a minute. But it's also gonna have open world RPG game called Beast of Reincarnation. I don't know what that is. I don't know. But it's also been rumors that a smaller game could make a surprise appearance at this conference, or I should say show. But what I want to concentrate on is a report coming out of VGC from Andy Robinson, who is expecting Fable. Now, this really kind of threw me off just a little bit. I mean, it's not surprising. It's not something we haven't already seen. So a lot of us are expecting it, but sometimes I would think that Microsoft may want to hold a few titles close to their chest, especially when it comes to those franchises that have been grandfathered into the culture of building blocks that helped make and establish the Xbox brand. So according to Andy Robinson, though, he's expecting Fable to release day and date on PlayStation 5. Because the team has been, quote, targeting PS5 for a while, end of quote. Now, on the other hand, it's being said that Forza 6 won't be day and date because the game, quote, wasn't ready. Wow. Man, listen, brother, Microsoft has already, they've already made it clear.
Show me the money.
That's all they care about. Xbox, Microsoft said, we want the monies. We down 70% around this mug. We need some paper. We trying to keep the lights on around here. If this is true, if Fable comes out on PlayStation 5 day and date, God, dog, just burn it down, Xbox, burn it down. If you can have a franchise like Fable, one of those building blocks, a pillar inside of the building of the Xbox brand, if you can put that on your rival console platform, and I get it. People will say, well, they already said that they're going third party. I get it, but you still have a console over there. I know the joke ain't selling. It's going doggone wood and aluminum foil out here in these gaming streets. I ain't selling nothing. But yeah, dog, could you have just a little bit of integrity? Just a little bit. Again, this is rumors. We don't know, but we saw what happened a couple of months ago when it came to Gears of War Reloaded. It was there on PlayStation day and date. So what, in my mind, is to stop me from believing that the new Gears of War isn't going to be on PlayStation day and date as well, if the new Fable is going to be allegedly on PlayStation day and date? This is just so interesting, man. I tell you, when I tell y'all that Xbox going in this direction hurt me, man, it really took a piece out of me. It did. It took a piece of my gaming soul. Just a taste. Cause I'm like, this just ain't gaming, man. It just don't feel right. It don't feel the same. The feeling just isn't there anymore like it used to be. I'm like, man, I need the competition. I need y'all out here. I need y'all out here fighting hard. Come on, Xbox. Y'all got all kind of IPs now. Come on. This is the time to get up and show out, but they are continuously bowing down to the competition. I'm sitting here, man. I am in absolute. I'm gonna tell you, man. I'm in pain, man. Y'all killing me with this. I just can't function. I can't function. It's just like, man, oh man, y'all had it. Y'all had it, but you gave it up. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. My gosh. Anyway. Oh, let's just move on, man. Let's move on into the next story. It definitely hurt me to see Xbox going in this kind of direction. God dog, this is not what I wanted for them. But let's move on and let's get into the next story that I actually got from GameIndustry.biz. And this is a good story because in quick news, one of my favorite games, Detroit Become Human, has sold, now this is awesome, has sold a whopping 15 million copies worldwide since its release back in 2018. Golly. Quantic Dream, you're on fire, god dog. $15 million copies. Crazy. Man, I tell you, Quantic Dream, that is one of my favorite studios. It's one of those studios I don't talk about much because, well, they don't release games a lot. You know, you get one, usually maybe two at the most per generation. I mean, you look back to the PlayStation 4 generation, all we got was Detroit Become Human. You go back to the PS3 era. Now, that's when they were cooking pretty good because they had Heavy Rain come out in that time. And they had the other game with the main protagonist whose brother was a ghost or something like that. I can't remember the name of the game, but they had released two games. Last generation, it was one. This generation, we don't have anything right now. Now, the game that they were supposed to be working on was that Star Wars game, and that joint looked like it could have been fire. And the last time we had reported on that, it was still being worked on and it was supposed to be releasing sometime in the future. But no word has come out about that game yet. But with them selling 15 million copies of Detroit Become Human, hopefully that is enough incentive for them to continue to get the green light to keep working on this Star Wars game that's supposed to be coming out hopefully sometime this year. They didn't say that, but I'm saying we saw that. Man, when did we see that game? Hold on. Let's figure this out together. This is the beauty of the internet. When was the last time Quantic Dream showed off their Star Wars game?
It sounds like there might be a bit of a name mix-up. While
No, I didn't say Media Molecule. Nah, we know that's Dreams and Little Big Planet. No, I didn't say them. When was the last time that Quantic Dream showed off their Star Wars game?
It has actually been quite a long time since Quantic Dream showed any new footage of Star Wars Eclipse. The last and only official trailer was the cinematic reveal trailer shown at the Game Awards in December 2021. Since that stunning 3-minute teaser, the studio has not released any new trailers or gameplay demonstrations. Recent activity, 2024 to 2026. While we haven't seen the game in motion lately, there have been several status updates to let fans know it hasn't been canceled. October 2025. Update. CEO David Cage released a brief statement confirming that development of Star Wars Eclipse continues and that the team is eager to share more in the future. This was largely to reassure fans after the studio announced a different, smaller multiplayer project. Early 2025 assurances. Following layoffs at their parent company NetEase, Quantic Dream's leadership confirmed on LinkedIn that the Eclipse team was unaffected and still hiring.
Man, that's what I'm talking about. God, dog, it's hope. It's hope. It is doggone hope. Anything that Quantic Dream does, I want to see it through. I want to be able to be a part of it. Now, granted, I'm not going to sit up here and say I actually played Indigo Prophecy. I actually played the demo, thought it was dope. I think that was back on PS2, somewhere around there. Thought it was dope. Didn't pick it up. I did pick up Heavy Rain. I didn't pick up the other game with the girl and the brother, but I did pick up Detroit Become Human. So I'm batting at about 50%, give or take on the studio, about 50 or so percent. But this right here, the Eclipse game, I definitely want to play that. Star Wars lore sounds like it would be awesome, especially the way that Quantic Dream does their games. It could be something absolutely amazing. So it's good to hear that they are still working on the game. They didn't get canceled. The team didn't get dismantled. And again, going all the way back to 2021, it's 2026. That's 5 years ago. Well, going on 5 years ago. It's been 4 and a month right now, but almost 5 years later, they should have something. So we will see, and we will keep up with it as these things unfold. But let's go ahead and let's get into the next story. So according to Push Square, oh yeah, by the way, before I get too far, I was talking about Forza in the last situation, the last segment. I said we had some breaking information about Forza. Hold on, I think I got it. Well, you know what? Let's not even beat around the bush. They were probably going to talk about this at the show, but let's see how real this alleged leak is. Matter of fact, I think it's very real because I think Xbox did this to themselves. So let's look this up. What is the release date for Forza Horizon 6?
According to a major leak that surfaced just today, January 14, 2026, Forza Horizon 6 is reportedly scheduled to release on May 19, 2026.
Man.
The date appeared via an accidental in-game pop-up in Forza Horizon 5, which advertised pre-orders for the new title.
Oh my gosh. God dog it. This joke, man, Xbox is their worst. How the world are you going to leak your own, man, God dog. These people do self-sabotage better than anybody. It was their own developer. I can't. This is ridiculous. Oh, man. Man, oh, man. I thought that was the case. But, you know, you got to double check. How the world are you going to do this to yourself a couple of days away from an official release? Doggone, well, we'll see if that date does stand. But May 19th, 2026. It'll be interesting. We'll see what happens with this. And man, in the next couple of days, we are not going to have to wait too long to see if this is true or not. But let's go ahead, though, guys, and God darn Xbox. Let's get into a story that continues with the Xbox realm being at the front of the doggone news. So, according to rumors, matter of fact, you know, as rumors go, let's take this walk down Rumor Boulevard.
Look at all these rumors surrounding me every day.
So, according to Jazz Corden, Xbox studio Ninja Theory is now at work on another entry in the Hellblade series, or possibly something set in the franchise's wider world. Now, he has also stated that Ninja Theory is aiming for this entry to be, quote, more interactive, end of quote, than its predecessors, which seem to put more of a emphasis, on story more than anything. Now, we also mentioned Project Mora, which is the game that I thought was going to be the next game that they were working on, not H-Blade 2. But Project Mora, this was a game that was, according to Jez Corden, it was more of a concept, at the time. And he seems to believe that project has been put on the back burner. And instead, the team is now focusing on a new H-Blade entry. I tell you what, man, this is the thing. Ninja Theory, to me, is an awesome studio. This is the same studio that made Heavenly Sword, they made Enslaved, and they made DMC. Now, 2 out of those 3 games I played. I didn't play Heavenly Sword. Well, I played it, but I didn't own it. It was during the PlayStation 3 era. Man, that game looked gorgeous when it was first released. My goodness. And I played it at a GameStop, but I did not own the game. Now, the other 2, Enslaved and DMC, I had those. I bought those. I owned those games, and I had a blast with both of those. So they have a pedigree. Then H-Blade Senua's Sacrifice, I think it was called. That game came out. First off, it was beautiful. Beautiful game to look at. But the combat, man, it wasn't a whole lot of combat. It was more so looking puzzles and things of that nature. But man, oh man, the way that they sucked you in to that character with all of the audio, the sounds of the voices being on the right side, the left side. If you had headphones on, you could really, really appreciate the creativity that those guys did over there. But it just didn't have enough combat. I didn't finish the game. I bought it, but I didn't finish it. And H-Blade 2, yeah, I'm not I don't know if I'm going to buy that right now. And it's on the PlayStation 5 as it stands. The game just got so many, man, I don't know. I usually don't go off of reviews. I probably still will buy it, but just based off of what I played of the first game, if they said it was worse, the reviews said it was worse than the first game, and it was less interactive. I'm like, God, dog, I don't know how much worse you can get than that. But the graphics, oh, y'all know I am a sucker for amazing graphics. So maybe that'll be enough for me to actually pick up the game eventually. If that price point gets to the point where I feel comfortable with it, I probably will buy it. It's one of those art piece kind of games, seems like, where you're playing it for the experience, not necessarily the gameplay and, all of the action elements of the game. Kind of seems that way. So maybe eventually I will pick it up. But them just, again, according to Jez Corden, them going back to the drawing board and working on H-Blade 3, that says to me that that's definitely not something I expected them to do. But just the fact that they want to make it more interactive, I'm hoping they'll be able to toe the mark. Because right now, you're kind of batting 0 for 2, and I believe in Ninja Theory. I really do. I think they are one of the best studios that Microsoft has right now. I think they're one of the best, top tier. They just unfortunately are striking out right now. So hopefully, usually by the third entry, if, certain developers get another crack at it after 2, usually the third entry seems to be the best one in a lot of cases. Not all cases, but in most cases, the third one seems to be where they actually hit their stride. So that's what I'm hoping for. Of course, we'll have to wait and see if this does happen, and that if this rumor is true about them working on H-Blade 3. But we will see. And just the fact that Project Mora, being more of a concept. And I read a little bit more into what that game was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a horror game, and it was supposed to be based on real events that actually happened. It was supposed to be more psychological, more of a psychological horror type of theme game. And it was supposed to be based off of real actual events that happened. So that sounded so awesome. But then thinking of it from that perspective, I'm thinking maybe Microsoft might have told them, you know what, put that on the back burner because Kojima is working on OD, which is a very similar concept. At least it sounds like it, a similar concept to Project Mora. And having Kojima at the helm, man, we know how this Joker gets down with his, this brother got an imagination on him. So if you got him doing a game that's very similar to a game that was a concept that Ninja Theory was working on, if I was Microsoft, even I would tell Ninja Theory, well, hey, Kojima, he kind of has that angle covered right now. So just go ahead and work on H-Blade 3, trying to make that better. So, but we'll see what happens with this. I don't know if it's going to be very soon, but we'll see what happens with this whole situation in the future. But let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into, well, I can't even say this is really a story. It is, but it's just the timing of this next story is extremely interesting to me personally, because of, what I've recently experienced. So just getting into the story, Remedy wrote a post on X stating that with Control Resonant, they, quote, wanted to challenge ourselves to make the biggest and most ambitious game we've ever made, end of quote. And went further to say, and I quote yet again, this is not a safe sequel, end of quote. Now, the reason this is so interesting to me is because I just bought Control and Alan Wake 2 on the PlayStation 5. Now, I got those on an amazing sale that PlayStation had over the holiday. Man, shout out to the good people. I got to give them the credit. Shout out to my cousin, LaShawn and Jason. And shout out to my best friend. This guy ain't even a friend. He's a brother. Shout out to Renard. I ain't going to say their last names, but they actually bought me gift cards, PlayStation gift cards. And man, let me tell you, those things came in clutch, because not only did I get Control and Alan Wake 2, I also got Dispatch, I got Shinobi Art of Vengeance, and I got Horizon Burning Shores off of those gift cards. So I got to say again, shout out to them. Thank y'all for that. But with that being said, so I actually got a chance. Now, I bought Control on the Xbox One. I played it, but I didn't play it. I got very, very frustrated with the map layout. How you got to get through that game. The navigation in the game is horrible. My gosh. So I gave up on it. But the PlayStation 5 version was like $5. It was $5. And Alan Wake 2, I'm not even an Alan Wake fan. I never played the first one, but Alan Wake 2 was like $18. I'm like, man, just give them to me. I'll take them. Then what I ended up doing was I started playing Control. Now this time, man, I got to say, God dog, Control looks really good on the PlayStation 5. Didn't have all of that long loading time and all of that stuff. I mean, man, what an upgrade. What an upgrade. So not having to deal with that. It's running at 60 frames per, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. 60 frames per second makes such a difference. Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious. That game is so smooth. the gameplay, I sat down and I locked in. And the graphics, the gameplay, the story, I'm like, God, dog, this game, the destruction in the environments, oh, man, God, dog. Joker's had me hooked. I'm hook, line, and sinker with that game right now. I had to stop, though, because I don't play two games at once. I had started playing Shadow Warrior 3, which that game is another banger. Shadow Warrior 3 is tough. Tough in a good way. That game is dope. Just pure fun. Just pure fun. Through and through. Not a whole lot of thinking. Just a blast. And it's beautiful. Doggone, that game is beautiful. So I said, well, look, I got to finish Shadow Warrior 3 because I started that first. But when I was playing Control, I was ready to drop Shadow Warrior 3, just for a minute. But I was like, nah, don't go against what you do because you'll never finish the game. So it gave me a whole new perspective on Control. Just the gameplay, like I said, the destruction in the environments is unreal. Unreal. I'm shooting through glass. It's busted and breaking everywhere. And it's staying like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so incredible. Man, I was so blown away. And I was able to follow the story. I had the Pulse Elites on. Hell, yeah. So them talking about this Control Resonant and how it's not going to be a safe sequel and how they're trying to push themselves to actually give, their biggest and most ambitious game they've ever done. I'm like, man, again, I was playing Control, and that is the older of the two. Alan Wake came out, 2 years ago, I believe? And I'm just imagining what they might have done with that game. I haven't played a Remedy game since Quantum Break. Back in the day, what was that, 2016 maybe? Somewhere around there. And I thought that was a good game. Gameplay was a little, from time to time, but I thought it was solid. And just playing Control, for the time I've played it, man, they have really cleaned up a lot of the gameplay from what I could tell so far with Control. So I went from not even remotely interested in this Control Resonant game to now being extremely interested in what they're going to do with that. So we will definitely see how this comes out in the wash, of course, because nothing is guaranteed to be a success, but they definitely have my full attention. And if Alan Wake 2 is better than Control, because Control actually won Game of the Year that year, and I remember sitting there saying to myself, ain't no doggone way this game should have won the Game of the Year. But when I sat there and I played it and I've been understanding the story and enjoying it, I'm like, dag, I mean, maybe it should have won Game of the Year, but I don't know. It just kind of shocked me how good the game actually is. So I don't know. I might be going a little bit overboard on that, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think Control deserved it that year, or do you think that the other games that were up for nomination should have won that year? I'd be curious to know your thoughts. But with that being said, though, so I don't get too long-winded, let's go ahead and let's get into this Rockstar situation. So we know Rockstar is in court as a result of devs allegedly leaking inside information. And because of the case, it looks like some of the rumors that we have been hearing are true. Now, before we get fully into it, from my recollection, and you guys, as always, feel free to call in. The phone number is in the description. If you want to call in, I would love to hear from you. But from my recollection, it seemed like they were making more of or it was being reported that Rockstar was trying to union bust. They were trying to break up the unions, or the union that these developers were trying to make trying to actually impose on Rockstar. And as a result, Rockstar actually said, no, in order to fight against that, they said, no, we fired them because they leaked information. Now, I don't know if one side is right or the other is wrong, but the thing that I do know is as a result of this court case, we actually have, again, like I mentioned, some of these rumors have been confirmed to be true. I don't think all of these, because some of them were possible, some of them were actually true. So let's start with the one rumor that we heard a while ago that was going to be the ability to enter 700 buildings. We were told that was something that was going to be in the game. Now, when I looked it up, it said that was a very big possibility that actually would be in the game. So that one is on the upper side of yes, not 100% confirmed, but the reports are saying that's probably going to be true. But where it's a bit of a back and forth as to whether or not it's true, it's more so about the amount of buildings you'll actually be able to enter. Some people said it's going to be 40%. Some reports said that it's going to be around like 60%, 60 to 70%. So the amount of buildings actually being 700 that you can enter into, that may be where it comes into question whether or not that is going to be true. But it does look like you're going to have the ability to actually enter into multiple buildings. I've even heard reports say that it's going to be elevators in the building, like in the malls. You'll be able to go to certain levels, like different levels inside of the building. I'm like, golly, this could be massive. I mean, it's already big enough. Grand Theft Autos are already big enough on their own when you're talking about just driving around the city. But if you are including in that the ability to go into multiple buildings with multiple levels inside of the building, my gosh, imagine. I don't think it'll happen because I think it would just be way, way too ambitious. But imagine going into an office building that has like 30 floors and being able to get off at every single floor. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm just saying that is the next level, in my personal opinion, of gaming. And that's one of the reasons why, just as a quick side note, is why I loved Days Gone. Days Gone Remastered was a masterpiece. Being able to go into all of these different buildings, jumping in, jumping out, closing the doors, opening the doors, being able to get into houses and go up stories in the house. Might only been one story, but just the fact that you were able to go from downstairs to upstairs in multiple buildings, I was like, this is incredible. That game right there, Days Gone Remastered. You guys know how much I loved The Last of Us Part 2. I just got to say, Days Gone is like, I don't want to put it over The Last of Us Part 2, but it is so close to being over top of The Last of Us Part 2. That game, Days Gone, is a phenomenal game. And again, just that one element really, really made me appreciate it. But let's get back to GTA 6 though. So we got the buildings. They also said that it's going to be a 6-star wanted level. Now this was shown to be extremely high on the list of possibilities, because of leaks and different documents. They said that this is like almost a 100% chance of this happening. And that means that, you're going to get the K9s coming out. You're going to have the military out there with the tanks and all of that stuff with the 6-star wanted level. It's going to get very chaotic with that situation. Now, they also mentioned that the weight loss. Now, that was one of the mechanics from, what was that? Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, where you could actually have your weight fluctuate and go down. They said that is an extremely high point of actually happening as well. Kind of got tongue tied there, but yeah, they're saying it's very high. The possibility of that being a feature is extremely high in the game. And they even mentioned, one or two clips that have already been shown in the official Rockstar trailers where it looked like Jason was a little bigger in one scene and then he was smaller in the other. Lucia is supposed to be the same thing with her as well. So the weight gain and weight loss situation looks like that's going to be a shoe-in. And they also talked about gore and dismemberment also being very, very high up on the list of possibilities of it actually really happening, because they had mentioned Red Dead Redemption 2 and them actually having kind of like the same engine as far as the exit wounds and the bullets, riddling the characters and things of that nature. So, I'm like, golly, that would be dope, just to see the dismemberment. No, oh man, I know it sounds crazy me saying that, but I'm just saying, just for gaming's sake and the realism of it, that'd be interesting to see that actually come to fruition. Now, oh, by the way, just to mention, to give them their credit, all of these rumors and leaks were actually reported by a user named GameRoll, 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 just to give that brother his credit. Now, the other things that were confirmed in leaks, just to continue with this list of things or features, was also a relationship system between Jason and Lucia that will influence gameplay and missions. So this is very interesting because let's say, Jason, he wanted to go see the ladies, at an adult place. And I don't know, Lucia catches him in there and, he throwing money, having a good time. And maybe she feels a certain kind of way. I mean, who knows what kind of dynamic that's going to put in between them. It could make some very stressful situations happen. Or Lucia does something and things don't turn out too right, because it seems like you're going to be able to control both of these characters simultaneously. So it could definitely bring some very, very interesting interactions when it comes to their relationship and this possible relationship system, which seems to be very, very high up on the list of actually happening as well. That's a whole different dynamic we've never seen in Grand Theft Auto 6. Now, the other things that are being reported are that Lucia and Jason will both have special abilities. Jason is going to have more of a Deadeye ability, and it looks like Lucia will have her own tactical skill as well. And last, absolutely last but not least, you will have limited inventory, meaning you may have to store certain guns in your vehicle to actually carry them around. So you're not going to be able to have 9 or 10 different weapons on you at one time. You're going to have a certain amount that you're good with or you prefer, carry those. And if you want anything extra, you're going to have to put it in the trunk of your vehicle. And I think that if I'm not mistaken, didn't you have to do that in Red Dead Redemption 2? I mean, that game came out back in 2018, so we're talking about 8 years ago. And y'all know my memory is horrible when it comes to that. But I think that you were limited in Red Dead Redemption 2 about the weapons you could carry around, and maybe you had to carry some on your horse or something like that. You guys let me know. But again, just to close this off, these things have been, again, allegedly leaked because of this court case that's going on. And it does look like, Rockstar, they actually reportedly cited that several employees were fired, again, for sharing confidential game details on public channels. And this is the interesting thing. The timeline almost matches up perfectly with the massive leak from once again the guy game role. So this will be interesting to see if these features actually do make it into the game. I'll be very interested. Now, this is the thing. I'll let y'all know something right now. I don't think, and maybe we can talk about this a little later, because there are rumors that the game maybe pushed back again to 2027. That's another rumor. So, I mean, who knows? We'll have to wait to see what happens. But as it stands right now, the game will be releasing in November. I don't know if it's going to happen, but we'll see. But I don't think that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to meet expectations. I don't think so. I don't think that the game is going to meet your expectations or my expectations.
This man!
Listen, I'm just saying. Look, this game has been in development 118 years, god dog it. I don't think that this game is going to reach the heights that people have in their mind. I mean, these features going into all of these buildings, man, that sounds incredible. Absolutely sensational even. But I just don't know. I don't think Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to reach the hype. I don't think it's going to perform to everybody's, everybody's standard. I think it's going to fall short. I would be curious to know your thoughts. That ain't even the question of the week, but we can throw that in as a bonus. But, hey, it is what it is. Come challenge me. Call in and let me know your thoughts. But anyway, that is the end of the gaming news this week, which leads me into the final section of the podcast. And thank you, good brothers and sisters, for being here. But the question that I have for you guys this week is, how many games did you beat in 2025? Now, I got my list right here. I got my list. I might not have been recording, but I was darn sure playing. So this is my list of games I beat in 2025. I beat Mario Odyssey. I beat Bright Memory Infinite. I beat Days Gone Remastered. Deliver at All Costs. That game was fun. Little Nightmares 2. That game was dope. Mafia: The Old Country. That one was a bit of a letdown. It was good, but it wasn't up to the standard of a Mafia game for me. It was all right, but it just wasn't my It was cool though. I gave it like a 7. It was solid. It was decent. I also beat Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh my gosh, Guardians of the Galaxy. I have never been so conflicted on a game in my doggone life. This game is brilliant, but yet freaking ridiculous all in the same breath. The hard difficulty on this Joker. Man, I have never been so just enraged by a game's difficulty. And I come from the Nintendo era. NES, god dog it. Games were buggy for no reason. I was playing Guardians of the Galaxy. I wanted to quit so many daggone times because the difficulty was so doggone hard. Oh, it was so hard. I had it on easy. And it was so hard to beat. I said, Jesus. This game had me so angry. I was going to bed mad because I was like, I'm not doing this right now. I'm tired of this darn game. But then it was times in the game that it was absolutely unbelievable. Sensational. Even the voice acting was just brilliant. Oh, the story was excellent. Graphics, oh man, forget life. Graphically, that game was absolutely stunning. It was beautiful. Good grief. But that gameplay, oh man, it made me so mad. But I did beat that game. And again, I'm just so, I don't even know what to give the game. I want to give the game a daggone 0 out of 100. I ain't that bad. You know, like a D minus, but then I want to give it an A plus. I've never been just so conflicted on what to give a game, but that, because of that difficulty, oh my gosh. Oh, that game right there. I was so mad. But I beat Guardians of the Galaxy, but the most shocking game that I beat on this list, and it really took me to a place, was Space Marine 2. Space Marine 2 was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Man, I have never been a Space Marine fan. I've never been a Warhammer 40K. Never played a Warhammer game in my life. I remember seeing it back on PC back in the 90s, thought it looked amazing, but I never got a chance to play one. I played this right here, Space Marine 2. This game was marvelous. 10 out of 10. If they mess around, man, listen, Coalition don't play. Don't play around. With this Gears of War, this new Gears of War coming out, don't play around. You better bring some absolute fire and flames and 12th degree burns when it comes to this game, because as I was playing Space Marine 2, I said, God, dog, they doing Gears of War better than Gears of War right now. These guys did such an amazing job. Good gosh, man. It was a joy to play the game. The environments, the story is what the story is. It was cool. I just didn't have any complaints. It was a perfect game for me. 10 out of 10. It was, God, dog, it was sensational. Man, the mechanics that you got, man, forget it. Anyway, I'm curious to know, just getting back on topic. So I beat 8 games last year. How many games did you beat? And please feel free, if you can, to name them. I would love, absolutely love to hear from you. And again, if you want to be a part of listener feedback, you can always call in to give us that list at 667-284-9057. I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell. And again, as always, I want to thank you guys for being here. Thank y'all. So with that being said, before we get on out of here, and wrap this thing up and put a bow on it, always remember one thing, ain't nothing changed. It is not about the consoles. It is about the game. So until next time, when we do it again, until then, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.